Hello my friends and welcome back to the sushi aisle. Today we're doing another insane Subnautica base build. Why? Because I'm slowly losing my mind waiting for Subnautica 2. Now this is the Subnautica map. Floor-wise, it is a crater that's about 2 by 2 kilometers in size, but actually in the game, it's a bit more of a cube that's anywhere between like 3 and 4 kilometers in diameter and about 2 kilometers in height. Not too long ago, I did a video where I swam underneath this place in survival, and a lot of you commented, I wonder if it would be possible to build down there. Well, today we're gonna be building a base that goes around the whole thing, like a ring around the entire map. So let's do it! Now it all began innocently enough with a game of creative. No, I'm not trying this in survival. I exited the Lifepod and looked upon the world that was to bear my creation. First things first, I equipped the compass. This was so that I could tell which way I am building and kind of set a direction that would make sense. I decided I would simply build north from the Lifepod and then the base would connect coming back from the south. So I lined things up and built the first base piece without giving it too much thought. This will definitely not come back to haunt me later. I built a little bit underwater. It would have definitely been smarter to build above water, but I figured this would be a bit more fun when we have the base finished. I also decided to use glass compartments so that when I'm running through the base at the end of it, it looks a bit more interesting. And so the build began. Quickly exited the safe shallows, I went through a kelp forest or two. Quickly I left the Aurora far behind, and the Lifepod even further. And soon enough the seabed disappeared so deep I could no longer see it, and yet the build continued. I tried a bunch of different methods for building faster and faster. Now at this point, as you can see, I was in the void. But the thing about the void wall is that it actually pushes away a bit as it goes deeper, so I would have to build a bit further out so that I wouldn't have to then make unnecessary turns on the way down. A bunch of ghosts came to visit. They decided to all just lay down and peacefully watch me build. I built an observatory at the end to mark the true end and started building vertical connectors deep. These would go about 2 kilometers down. Oh yeah, the Aurora decided to explode at this point, but of course, I was in full Bob the Builder mode, so I couldn't really do anything about it. And as the depth increased, so did my sanity decrease. It's always so amazing seeing the ghosts in their natural habitat just peacefully existing.
Look at this one, he's sleeping.
And soon, the depth gauge crossed 1 kilometer deep. And then over there in the corner, you could actually see the Sea Emperor's base down there. But before long, we were at the 2 kilometer mark. I built one regular compartment here, a nice little observatory for decoration, and then our journey south began. To say this wasn't exactly the most thrilling of activities would be a bit of an understatement. But you know, somebody's gotta do it. As I was building down here, I certainly came across some strange backroom type formations, like this here big cube above me. Soon I was nearly right below my Lifepod, meaning I was about halfway through this build, and it was actually going pretty well, but you can already see the infamous lag coming through. Now fast forward a bit, and I was slowly reaching what I thought was the other side of the map. Now look at that, there's the edge right there. It's perfect, now I just have to go up and connect it around, and we're gonna be done in record time. So I started building vertical connectors, and up we went. And then I realized that was not the edge.
Someone actually.
So I deconstructed all of that vertical stuff I just did, and onwards we built. Totally wasn't losing my stuff at this point. Now eventually, I did actually reach the actual edge, even though you can't really see it because it's quite far above. This time I double checked. And then I finally started the long climb up from 2 kilometers below. Soon enough, I did reach the edge that was above me, and then I was slowly emerging by the Sea Treader's path. Now at this point, I decided to actually swim back to the other side and continue building from there. But there was a problem. We will call this next section the Lifepod Conundrum. Here's how it goes. There's the Lifepod, here's your base. You want to build that way, but you can't because of the Lifepod. What to do? So first, obviously, I tried just taking a bunch of floaters, attaching them to the Lifepod and hoping they will either, lift it enough or cause it to glitch out in such a way that it will get out of the way of my base. It's not like I couldn't go around it with the base, it was a matter of principle. Now, that didn't help enough, so of course, I decided to just absolutely ram the crap out of it with my sea-lock. The problem is, the Lifepod seems to be kind of tethered in place there, and it doesn't really want to move. Didn't really want to topple either, surprisingly. I pushed, prodded, and nothing would work. And then out of desperation, an idea was born, and I started placing down pipes. Now, you might not be seeing the vision just yet, but with each pipe that I had to very, very carefully place in such a way that it was just nudging the collision of the Lifepod, it would get pressed up a little bit. Now, I placed a lot of pipes, more than is healthy for anybody to place in a single session, but I still wasn't able to build that one final piece. But the build had to get bigger. At this point, the Lifepod was completely above water, as you can see, and still it was too close for me to build the base piece, so we had to build more. And I just kept placing pipes, slowly lifting the pod. And then, nobody would believe it, but there it was. I could finally build the base pieces below it. My base could continue on straight without the need to deviate around the Lifepod. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that worked. This might be one of the dumbest things I've ever done in the game. Oh yeah, by the way, like 30 meters later, I realized I would have to curve it anyway because there's a rock. So, yeah. So after doing the absolutely logical thing and just curving the base around the rock, I kept on building. I went all the way through the safe shallows, slowly but surely pushing toward where the edge part of the base would connect. At that point, I yet again decided to switch to the other side and build it almost all the way to the surface. It was actually amazing that now these two pieces were within swimming distance from one another, like reasonably so. Then at last, the vertical section of the base was at the surface, and now it was time to finish it up. Finally, I could see the two ends come together, and with a final few connectors placed down, this monster of a base came together. Now, I only had to place down some ladders. Yes, the lag was absolutely insane. And so this, my friends, is the base that goes all around the map. And now for a little time lapse. A seizure warning, guys. Seriously. But yeah, this is it. It's a ring base around the entire map. Now, if you're curious about how long the base actually is, it comes down to roughly around 10 kilometers, so certainly quite massive. And in terms of how long this time lapse actually took, that was around 20 minutes at regular pace, so that also gives you some perspective as to how freaking long this thing is. But I certainly hoped you guys enjoyed the video, and hey, if you did, maybe consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. All of those be very, very much appreciated. With that, I want to wish you all a beautiful rest of the day, and I'll see you all in whatever next video I make. Bye bye.